is Sarah Maingey Hillman, and right now we're in authoritative where I grew up, but I live in the UK. I'm married there with 5 children to a Mr. Hillman, and I just want to, I'll tell you a little bit about my interesting journey that maybe before I wouldn't have been so proud of, but I am now, because I sort of like moved a step ahead and realized that I'm glad I've been through what I've been through. Because sometimes we will look at it in the point of view, oh, you know, having a hard time or whatever is not a good thing. It's good, because those challenges and the hard times make you a better person. And that's where I'm coming from. So I went to school young age in Mombasa Primary. I think it's a school that was, pretty well known. And from Mombasa Primary, I went to Limuru Girls, that is in Limuru, better known as Chalks, girls out there. So that's where I was in school. Then from there, I went to Charles Coldham and did my A-levels there. And then I did a lot of acting. I was such a busybody. So I loved my acting. I did a lot of, different programs, especially with people like William Suma. There's a program called Mambo, and I acted quite a bit with him. We did a program, actually it was quite a big show, Family Affairs, those years, and I was Mama Ted. So that was part of my little, I did a lot of stuff with Elimunjao when I was much younger. I did a lot of voiceovers. So I was a person, just a busybody, anything that I found, because I love, what can I say? I love people, I love action, I love talking, I love, as you can hear, because I love all these things, I found myself caught up with just different things. But anyway, in all that, I was meant to be going to America, into an acting school, so I can, end up in Hollywood. It didn't end up like that. Instead, I chose to stay back and, support the family, my parents. Because at that time we were running, running a real estate, and they needed somebody to be here to look after things. And the rest of my siblings were scattered around abroad, and others were in the middle of their studying and the rest of it. So I ended up handling those sort of things until I moved to the UK. That's after I'd lost both my parents, and then started a new life there. I got married, and another new journey started on that end. But just going back a little bit about what was happening here in Kenya, I'll tell you one thing. I really enjoyed my, as in me, not the rest of the family, my humble beginning. I enjoyed so much just hanging around with the workers' children. Every Christmas, Easter, I'd make sure my mom cooks for them. We eat together and have a really nice time together. And my mother knew that Sarah does not eat in the main house. I used to eat with the workers. And that's, I think, if I can remember most of my life, forget about the Intercontinental and these big hotels, which we go to and think we've been somewhere really. No. We used to go to the river and collect water in those mitungis, and I even knew how to carry them. Then we would come by water from the river, fill it in, come back to the house, to the worker's house, put in there's 3 stones, so we fill it up with the firewood, and there used to be this katarimbo thing, like a pipe thing, that I used to be so good at it. Blow the fire until it lights up, and then, we cook, we picked up some 2 herbs from, wild growing things, mchicha, terere, those sort of things, yeah. We make a stew, and then make the ugali from that brown river water. And oh my God, I still remember that ugali. It was the best ugali I ever ate. Anyway, that was sort of like my humble beginning, where I really enjoyed being with children. We used to play and I just make things happen for the kids. And I see it today, with my whole sort of walk up to now, I realize that I love children. I mean, you can live with kids and forget about you adults. Honestly speaking, just have the children, I'm a happy woman. My mother told me before she died, she said, I know you're going to do something to do with children and mothers, because she could see how I was really attached to them. And she's right, she's not there today, but bless her, her words were really correct, because when I moved to the UK, I started a children's home, and I'm supporting different groups back here in Kenya. I've got a church that I've been supporting in Kibera. There were 2 churches before, now it's 1. We did a feeding program for the children in Kibera. I've got widows, 12 families that I support financially in Kibera. So I work a lot with mothers and children because I just feel, that's sort of like where I belong, to be there to encourage them. So going back after going to the UK and settling there, I found myself getting into because I love cooking, and because I realized that people out there really like my food. So I thought, maybe I could do a little business with this food. And believe it or not, it's, I've done good with the food. I held a title of best food in the biggest festival in the world, Glastonbury Festival. I had the title of the best food for 3 years continuously. So it sort of like picked up, but then agreement with my husband was that I just want to support my people back in Kenya because this is where the help was required. So we agreed, so I'd cook my food, make money, and I would support, different families and different children, different things here in Kenya. Then that moved on to meeting up with, being told about, a mother who was dying of AIDS. So I came in between that. I took care of the children. I promised I would. She died, but I ended up keeping the 4 children. And from there is when the orphanage started in Kitui. It grew until we got to 89 children. So from there, it was a matter of me cooking. I was a busybody, honestly. I used to cook with my mobile kitchen, and I find myself, people like the food. Hey, but African food is good. I will not lie to you, the queues were absolutely amazing. Just seeing the queues and seeing how happy and satisfied they were after having the meal made my day. So I had to cook with one heart. Anyway, that went on. And then in 2005, I was elected a town councillor. And being a councillor, I found myself, actually I won by an 80% win. It's never been beaten. I'm still on the highest with the Liberal Democrats. So I had an opportunity of going to House of Commons, meeting people, necessary people, and that was just a nice walk. And of course, having been the first black woman to be made a councillor in Somerset was quite exciting, one. And I was also the first Kenyan woman to be made a councillor in the UK. So again, that was exciting. It was just nice signing the books with some of my other councillors. It was quite nice. Then with my cooking and my work with my charity work, I found myself winning an award in 2007. It was a big award, the Remember Africa Award. So I got that award for 2007 for the work that I do here in Kenya and all that I've sort of like given back to where I come from. So that was nice as well because I had people from the embassy coming to support that. It was really nice. So that's just been my walk in the UK. And then of course after that I had my number 5 with my English husband, and that sort of like slowed me down a little bit. So I slowed down because of course I had to play the part of a mother. Then after that I started thinking, I've got this land in Athi River, it's staying idle. I like the fact that I could come back here, see the trees, the countryside, hear the birds in the morning. And I just thought, do something that I can be able to see people, talk and laugh and share. Because I enjoy that, I really enjoy that, just sharing my story and everything else. So I decided to build the resort. So let's think about making things good for each other here, where we can stand and support one another, be there for one another, which is something that I'd really, really would love to see us, especially let's talk about Kenya, because as Kenyans, let's learn to be, tolerant with each other and things that we can talk about, let's sit down and talk. Because if you don't talk, how else do you ever get to know what the other person is thinking, or even whatever situation it is? How do you know if you're not talking about it? After all this issue of the COVID, the orphanage things had to sort of like dissolve on that end, but I still support a lot of the, families, around that I've been supporting. I still do that. I decided to start the Mama Sarah Foundation because I wanted to. I've noticed that, especially with the male, the boy child, I find that, I don't know what it is, but maybe in our language would say they're under attack. Do you know what I mean? I find that they are derailing, and it's not maybe because they want to derail, but maybe because they don't have any focus. They don't have people sort of like focus, encouraging them and being there for them. We sort of like turned our faces to the girls quite a bit, and I know girls, you're smart, and but there is a problem. And because of the fact that there's a problem, I decided with Mama Sarah Foundation, we want to really focus on seeing how we can support the youth, men especially, and see how we can encourage them to get back into the society. They're our future fathers, our future presidents, ministers, whatever, leaders of all sorts. We need them to be able to focus, not being lost. So when they get lost, it only becomes more trouble. It's actually trouble for the girls, it's trouble for the parents, and it's awful just watching what is happening. So parents and generally, us, we'll talk about Kenya because we're in Kenya. Kenyans, let's see how we can try and support these young men. These boy childs, they're in a situation where they're not feeling like they're being recognized. They're not feeling that they know who they are. It's like they're still looking for their roots. And I know a lot of it also comes because parents are divorcing, or there are a lot of single parents. But that's not an excuse. We need to try and see how we can try and help them. So I'm opening up, Mama Sarah Foundation is opening up a studio. It's going to be a music studio. It's going to be an area where if there's any people who are into acting, people who want to do, we want to train people who want to go into plumbing or whatever any child is good at, sort of like guide them and really nurture them to be able to become useful people in the community. And that's the reason why I'm putting quite a lot, especially for the boy child, because I noticed that they are not being recognized. And as long as we can all, understand that, let us begin to encourage, our sons, and make them feel that they're important, and make them understand that it's not about, not focusing. You've got to focus on something. But as long as we can encourage them, I'm sure some things will begin to change in our young boys. So that's one thing. But then again, on the other hand, I still love my girls, because girls also, they've also got the little end of them where, just because we are, put it in the best way, just because us girls are pretty tough, we are focused, and the rest of it. That's why it's not so easy to derail, a girl child. It's not so easy. And that's why you see a lot of them seem to be doing pretty well. But at the same time, I want us parents, especially guardians, parents, let's begin to look at our children and say, you know what? I see you're good. Like, for example, I was a person who was very chatty, and I love people, and yeah, if my parents were whatever, they would never have encouraged me to do my drama and things like that. But my father used to say, "Sana ni mtukutu sana." Just say, because I used to be everywhere. I used to go in the tractors. She see me on the farm. I used to wake up in the morning and I plow 3 acres or so before I go home to have my breakfast. You see what I mean? This is the age of about 13, 14. Do they do things like that today? Everything seems to be quite lost. They're all on their games. And these are the same computer games, all these social media business, what is spoiling our kids. Get them out, wakaangalie, you know, ng'ombe, wajue hii ni dume, hii ni kike, natoa maziwa, jifunze kukamua maziwa. Do things that are going to make you think in a different way. And then give them that responsibility. But pia wazazi wa siku hizi, I've got this habit of feeling that you're sort of like, it's about what you know best. You don't want to expose some of these things to the children. Teach your kids. You don't want to exit and you find the kids don't know anything about, you know, what you're doing. And I know a lot of them won't be interested, because a lot of kids today, especially the male boys, you know, the boys always feel like, you know, I don't want to be asked to do this, whatever, you know, I'm a man. No, you have to try. It's good, and pray. And sometimes you can't even do it. Just pray, because God is going to help you at least be able to guide these, you know, childs who are all feeling on another note. But saying that, the girls are smart. Girls, keep on focusing. And remember, whatever you feel like you're good at, make sure that you put your effort into it. And I'm you know, asking parents, don't force a child to become a doctor or a teacher or whatever. It's not all about that. We've got comedians today, we've got, you know, actors, we've got chess players, we've got different kind of, you know, sports that actually, they're making more money than even the lawyer or whoever. So let's just guide our kids to what they're good at, what they're blessed in, you know, and that would be, I think, would be a better way of looking at life. Talking a little bit about myself as a black councillor in the UK, I was liked by the people around where I live, but you'll always find there are those ones who are, I mean, we all know that. There's so many racists out there who look at a black person and think, maybe we hang from tree to tree. That's what we do, that's how we live. Not realizing actually a lot of us out here live so much better than a lot of people out there. Even though we don't have that much, a lot of people, the fact that we have laughter, you know, there's the joy. We don't have much, but there is the joy, there's the laughter. There's also the way you go to somebody's house, whatever they have, they'll remove it, they'll share with you. For me, that is what life is all about. But out there, yes, there's been a lot of challenges. I mean, the family experience, a lot of racism, you know, even during the time when all these things about Black Lives Matter, you know, television, in the, you know, they actually, you know, asked us to do an interview of what we have been through. And the interviews there online. People can still watch it. Yeah, but, you know, you're going to find that. It's going to be everywhere, you know. You're going to find that. I'm married to a white man, but it was a bit awkward because he was there thinking, you know, what's all this about? And I'm thinking, you know, but then there are those ones out there who are just going to look at you and think you're black. Like, what are you doing here? And not realizing that actually we're bringing a lot of goodies to them. Here at the river, you know, the Yeyani Resort. It had a different name before that nobody could pronounce correctly, so it made me change the name. So Yeyani Resort is in Athi River. We're only about 25 minutes from Nairobi, and I'm sure most people know where the interchange is, the Namanga, you know, Mombasa interchange. Facing Mombasa, we are on the left-hand side. So there's the Turf Home, there's London Distillers, then there's Great Wall, but just sort of like that direction, and you should see the signs. Once you're branching on the left, you should see the signs. But the idea of this place is, it's not so much of, like now with the COVID, I must say, it's been great because we have the open space, people can do their own things in different corners without feeling that we are sort of like squashed together, and it's not, you know, and it's open, the trees and everything, fresh air. So it's just a place that I love to watch children, especially running around and feeling free. You know, we've got a lovely playground, you know, we've got horses. So there's a lot of things that the children can do. We have beautiful cottages. They're tented, but they're executive tents. So when you're here, you sort of feel like you're in Masai Mara, you're in Naivasha. So you don't have to go all those routes if you don't want to make that long trip. Just come here, and we have a lovely band that plays. You know, we have a lot of residents, you know, especially on the weekends. So you just enjoy yourself with the band, there's disco. Yeah, so the idea is just to enjoy, you know, life is too short. Yayani Resort, just put in Yayani Resort. We're there on Facebook. It'll come under either Water Blossom and Yayani, but it's, you know, we were Water Blossom before, now we're Yayani Resort. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Yeah, when you're around as well, if anything you want to talk to us about, you know, we're pretty easy. Yeah, we are there for you, to make sure that you're happy. So let's talk about each other. As for the Mama Sarah Foundation, we are doing lots of different things. We've got wheelchairs that we are going to be giving out. We've just come from Mwala about 2 weeks ago. We have supported over 1,300 girls with sanitary towels. And we are going again, I think on Thursday, to take some more sanitary towels. So whatever we are able to support the young girls with, we support them, and of course encourage them as well. So come on board and let's all be there for one another. As I always say, it is from us to us.